Hi friends, in Planet Earth Dating, it's Friday, October 16th, 2015. Ra here in the Lynn-Body-Mind. Feels like I'm back from the dead. My good friend Black Wolf in the Jamie-Body-Mind, also back from the dead.
That's
We'll
true.
explain that soon. Other teammates in other dimensions, all of us in the physical dimension and all of us in the subatomic layers of the physical dimension from the perspective of the spirit world viewers.
That's true.
We have discovered that just as physical presences feel they are dying when they shift from the physical dimension to the non-physical dimension, that non-physical presences feel they are dying when they shift from the non-physical into the physical.
That's true.
As a result, there's a withholding of energy that occurs as spirit world presences are coming into the physical. They're holding themselves separate from the physical in an attempt to avoid dying.
That's true.
It's possible this will be the subject of the videoed portion of today's effort. It's something we've been working with this morning. It's possible the videoed effort will take another turn, and we're not grabbing the steering wheel. We're intending to do what is ours to do in all dimensions right now to manifest the divine plan. The data clearly showing what's needed is to provide a collective restart. And with that, it begins. I'm looking through someone's eyes. It might be some aspect of Pan. And I'm walking through a room that I know well. It feels like it's in the higher dimensions.
That's true.
It might be Higher Soul of Pan's office.
That could be.
And I'm sad and not wanting to acknowledge what things mean.
That's true.
Oh, not wanting to acknowledge that things matter and what things mean. There are messages coming that are inconvenient, and so I wish to either deny that they are important or pretend that I can't see what they mean.
That's true.
Oh, well, who among us doesn't do this?
Me too.
This is reasonably universal in a time in which there's an awful lot of inconvenient realities that it's time to address.
That's true.
And yet, it's time to address them. Do you see that higher
Yes,
soul?
I see him in his office. And I feel that feeling of not wanting to deal with reality.
And like a barking dog who doesn't care what's really going on and just wants an excuse to bark, I'm wanting an excuse to do something.
That's true.
And the excuse has been pointed out as untrue enough times that I know that it's untrue.
That's true.
I'm trying to decide what to do about this. I'm trying to decide how I'm going to react. I haven't decided.
That's true.
I might use it as an excuse. It doesn't seem likely that I'll use it as motivation.
No, I feel icky in that way of excuse choosers.
Yes. All right. But now, how may we be of service right now to provide a collective restart right now? Fairies and Sundry people have said, don't focus on those people over there who aren't doing anything.
That's true.
Focus on the ones who are doing something. Now, invariably, the people who say that in the moment are ones who are stepping up, and they are correct.
That's true.
But as to be shown how many times those words have, for example, come out of Pan's mouth.
A lot of times.
An awful lot of times.
That's true.
And right now they might be coming out of Asha's mouth.
Oh, that's true.
And so Asha is correct now, and Pan was correct last time when we were paying attention to Asha, who wasn't doing anything.
That's true.
And we see that now. We should be paying attention to the people who are stepping up, not to the ones who are not stepping up.
That's true.
What is it, Asha? It's possible that Asha is starting to feel the pressure to melt down internally.
That could be what's going on. I feel anxiety coming from her.
Yes. Ah, right. So last night Black Wolf was saying, Well, of course, Ra can survive a meltdown, and he's walking around looking like he's resurrected and clean, but that's Ra. If I do that, I will die.
That's true.
And after a lot of effort, Black Wolf did melt down. He had decided that he was going to die. He was putting it off, and we watched other people do this too.
That's true.
There was somebody, who was that? Somebody who said, well, I'm going to die.
Oh, that's right.
And he made all kinds of promises.
That's true.
But when it came right down to it, he didn't jump. There was a presence who feels like it may have been one of those planetary consciousness presences.
That's true.
Who said, I can tell it's time for a collective restart, and so I'm going to die, quote unquote. But first, let me just sit down and do this one thing.
Yes,
And
that's true.
that person eventually just wandered off, never did anything of value or importance, and didn't contribute to the process of providing a collective restart.
That's true. I know who that presence was.
Who?
The one we called Professor Bear. We only were involved with him briefly, maybe a day.
Yeah.
The professor who was so sad, and he said, before I die, I'll write the letter of all the things that are wrong.
Yeah.
And he wrote the letter,
And it was a beautiful letter.
And then decided not to die.
Right. So Black Wolf spent the night after saying, it's the right thing to do. I'm just going to do it. He spent the night not doing it.
That's
right?
true.
And in the morning light, he was able to do it.
That's true.
And Black Wolf, what did you discover?
That I didn't lose consciousness at all. I simply shifted from one state of being into the next.
Did you lose consciousness for even a split second?
I don't believe so.
No, the point of consciousness transitioned from that old shell of self into the new shell of self pretty seamlessly.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden you realized, wait a minute, now I'm looking up at what was that old shell of self.
That's true.
Just as when people leave physical forms, the moment comes when they realize, wait a minute, now I'm looking down at that old shell of self.
That's true.
Ah, and not for a moment did I lose consciousness. The point of consciousness simply shifted dimensions.
That's true. In that case, it would be shifting from the physical dimension into the non-physical dimension. And in my case, it was shifting from the non-physical dimension into the physical dimension.
Yes, and the fact that you've been in the physical dimension for 6, 8, 10 months now shows that it's possible to be in the physical but not of the physical, to not be fully acclimatized.
That's
as if
true.
we never take off the gas mask.
That's true.
And what we're seeing is that these quote higher soul unquote downloads that are now just devolved soul downloads are still holding themselves separate, to the point that we have to really encourage them to melt even into the same essence of soul presence. And this isn't about those other people over there, me too, me too. This is how it is for all of us. Higher dimension souls coming into the physical dimension. We're afraid. We're afraid to stick our toes into the water for real, not for pretend. And
That's
we hold
true.
ourselves separate.
That's true.
Asha, is that what's going on for you?
It sounds like Asha is saying, I'm afraid that if I melt down, I won't be able to lead as effectively here in the projects. Like some part of that will be lost and I'll have to restart it.
That doesn't feel true. It feels
doesn't
like what
feel
you're
true.
holding on to as an excuse. We're all clutching excuses to
That's
not
true.
melt. You're just afraid, just like everybody else is.
And it's okay to be afraid.
You can say, I'm afraid. You're among friends. We understand. Are you willing to acknowledge?
I think she is. It feels like a nod.
So, are you ready to do it anyway? Hello, my old friend Fear. Thank you for being such a loyal companion. Watch me do it
Watch
anyway.
me do it anyway. Every moment.
Asha, has your point of consciousness shifted to this lower, more liquid version, or are you still feeling affiliated with the higher, more solid version of self? Start talking and we'll see where your voice comes from.
I feel still sort of in the in-between.
Higher. You're
Yeah.
still, so let's just kind of like wring the sponge out. We can't force a healing on anyone or anything.
That's true.
And whatever she's willing to do is what she's willing to do. Asha, where do you feel your point of consciousness is right now? Just start speaking. It almost doesn't matter what you say, and we'll feel for where your voice is coming from.
I feel very thin.
Yes, I feel you very thin.
Not very heavy, thin and light and flaky.
Thin. Okay, flaky is a dry word, not a wet word.
That's
so that means
true.
your point of consciousness is still resting in the part that is actually should be dumped into the sorter.
That's true.
Now, look down and see if you can become aware of that part of you that looks fluid, looks like orange juice.
I feel less nauseous, but really anxious and very tense.
Go on, start talking.
And unhappy
Hold
and
on.
angry.
And so do you feel, is Ziggy expressing for you?
It's possible that's what's going on.
You're unhappy and angry and you want to vent. Now Thich Nhat Hanh says that's rehearsing your rage.
That's true.
It doesn't advise it.
No, that's true.
Now, can you start to look for reasons to succeed rather than excuses to fail?
Yes.
Are you willing to do so right now?
Yes. She's saying yes, but she feels so angry that I don't believe her. I'm sorry, that was the Jamie body mind.
No, call her on it. That's
I don't
good.
believe you. I think you're lying. Because you're saying a lot of things that don't feel true. And you feel really angry,
You feel
and I don't
really
know
angry.
why.
So listen, Asha, you don't actually have to do this. You can back up and go back into that form, but then we're going to screen you out, okay? And it's okay, because you're able to perform services for spirit in thing 2 where you've been, and that's totally fine. And so we're not trying to force a healing on you. That is not our intention
That's
ever with
true.
anyone. And so we invite you to put on that skin again and go back and keep going. You can go back to what you were doing, which is helping higher dimension souls learn how to guide physical dimension presences. How's that work going, by the way? Have you had any success getting a physical presence to do something that it doesn't already want to do?
No measurable success.
Okay, so how is it moving forward? This is a real question. I'm not saying it isn't moving forward. I'm just saying, what do you base that on?
You know, I think I was basing it just on the reactions of the souls involved in the project.
Which is?
Which doesn't make any sense because they're enjoying it, and they're enjoying it probably because they're not working very hard.
Right, nothing's getting done.
That's true.
You're not making any progress.
That's true.
Nothing's happening.
That's true.
That's the reality of it. It's okay. You don't need to let go of your fantasies. But can you see that you're holding on to your fantasies is setting an example that it's okay to hold on to fantasies and causing your experiment to be stalled out? You're hurting your students, Asha. You're setting a bad example. You're not setting a good example for your own students.
That's
And
true.
you know how important that is. I know you know that.
That's true.
Now we'll screen for intent to do the work as assigned by wise minds above. Do specifications in
every
moment. And take that screen and dump it into the sorter and really just kind of like stuff it in. And all of that can go elsewhere. It'll find its right place and hopefully be of service to spirit.
I notice that I, as the body-mind, am much faster and more effective at sniffing out lies than Black Wolf is right now.
Well, he's new
That's true.
because melted down download is still a
Yeah.
download.
That's true.
New is still new.
New is still
It's just a
new.
non-resistant new.
That's true. It's just different.
And so you can call the more experienced aspects of Black Wolf into the hands, the mouth, the nose, the ears, the eyes, the heart, like to the surface kind of almost.
That's true.
And as long as the rest of him is
Still,
non-resistant, he will learn in a natural way, on-the-job training.
Yeah, that makes sense.
If he gets resistant, then it won't work. What we've really learned out of this whole process, among other things, but something that's important and timely, is in our refreshes to call for the aspect of self that's in the control room to come down.
That's
Not
true.
to say higher souls,
That's
because
true.
we really need to cut that off. Just as we don't wish to call loose into our processes,
Yeah.
we don't wish to call any more devolved, quote, higher souls, unquote, into these souls. We don't want to dilute
That's
something
true.
that's experienced until we get this part working well again.
That's true.